for you this lesson from Unity of the Keys Spiritual Center. This is the first Sunday of Advent, and we celebrate the gifts of faith and hope. Our spiritual faith deepens as we explore and recognize the incredible power of an unshakable faith. Today, we acknowledge that faith is a decision. And as we gather in this sacred time of year, this Advent, the season of lights and candles and stars and inner illumination, we acknowledge that Christmas is far more than a date on the calendar or a tradition preserved through the centuries. It is always a living invitation. Unity is a Christmas religion in an Easter world. And we honor this season, the season of celebrating the birth of the one we know as the Christ, Jesus, as a gentle whisper, asking us, each one of us, to awaken again to what dwells at the center of our being. Hope and faith are the twin lights of this spiritual path. In Unity, we speak often of the Christ light, not as a figure from history alone, but also as a spiritual essence that lives within every soul, every soul. And Christmas becomes a symbol of the birth of this light again and again within us. Today, we explore how hope and faith open the door for that birth to take place. Christmas, more than any other season, is a messenger of hope. And hope is not a naive wishfulness. It is not merely optimism. Hope is the soul's ability to see beyond appearances. It is the voice within us that is saying, there is more here than you can see. Trust in the unfolding. Hope is a spiritual posture. It's an openness to possibilities that have not yet taken form. It is the willingness to believe that even in the quiet, dark, sometimes slow places of life, something sacred is beginning. In Unity teachings, we often compare hope to that first flicker of light before the dawn, that thin, almost imperceptible glimmer that does not yet reveal the sun, but promises that the sun is coming. We step into hope, not because circumstances guarantee it, but because our inner wisdom calls us to it, calls us to remember. For life is always moving towards healing, towards renewal, toward a greater expression of the divine. And this time of year, when nights lengthen and the earth grows more still, it's a perfect mirror for hope. In nature, this is the season of waiting. Seeds lie dormant in the soil. Animals gather warmth and trees conserve energy. The outer world may appear barren in the north, but within it, profound transformation is already underway. Hope teaches us to trust in these unseen processes. And so, the Christmas season asks us gently, where in your life is something quietly preparing to emerge? Where might you need to nurture hope, even without evidence? Perhaps you are in a season of personal growth that still feels tender and uncertain. Perhaps a relationship, a dream, or a healing journey is germinating beneath the surface. Or maybe the world around you feels chaotic, and hope reminds you that harmony still strives to be born. For hope is not passive. It lifts our eyes It softens our heart and opens us to the possibilities we might otherwise overlook. Hope is the birthplace of every miracle, because miracles begin in the invisible realm long before reaching the physical plane. Charles Fillmore, Unity's co-founder, often described the spiritual faculties as powers of consciousness. Today, we affirm the power of release. Well, hope aligns most closely with the power of imagination, the capacity to envision new pathways, new outcomes, and new ways of being. And imagination is not a fantasy. Imagination is the soul's creative function. So when we imagine a better world, when we imagine a reconciled relationship, or a healthy body, or a community that is filled with peace, we are not daydreaming. We are engaging in a form of spiritual creation. And hope fuels the imagination. It says, yes, healing is possible. Yes, transformation is unfolding. Yes, spirit is active even when appearances suggest otherwise. At Christmas, we celebrate the birth of light. And what is light spiritually but the illumination of our mind and heart, the ability to see from a higher perspective? Hope is that light beginning its work within us. So if hope is the spark, then faith is the fire. Hope opens the door and faith walks through it. We often think of faith as belief, accepting something is true. But in Unity metaphysics, faith is much deeper. It is an inner knowing. It is a spiritual faculty that perceives beyond the material, beyond the physical world. Faith is a conviction that the invisible realm is just as real, and often more real, than what we see with our physical eyes, with our human senses. Faith does not require evidence. Faith becomes the evidence. It is the substance, the spiritual foundation upon which new creation is built. For faith affirms, I know that spirit is active here. I trust the process of my own unfolding. And I rely on the wisdom that guides me from within. You see, for faith is not blind, it is visionary. It sees with the eyes of the heart. And during the Christmas season, faith reminds us that the light that we celebrate is not only outside of us, it is within us, each one of us. We do not wait for peace to appear in the world. We cultivate peace in our hearts. We do not hope for love to arrive through others. We awaken the love from within our own center. We're not wishing for joy to descend from the heavens. We allow joy to rise up from within. This is the metaphysics of Christmas, the birth of the divine through the channel of our own consciousness. Faith becomes powerful in the very places where evidence is absent. A light is born in a humble place, and guidance may come to us in dreams, in the quiet, and in the midst of life. The path forward is not always clear, yet each step is illumined in its own time. This is the pattern of spiritual growth: inner assurance, outer humility, step by step, unfolding, not rushing, allowing the divine to unfold. And as we step into this Advent season, faith invites us to carry this pattern into our lives. We take the next step, even if we cannot see the entire path. We trust the inner nudges even and especially when they defy logic. We listen for guidance, especially in, but not only in the silence. And we allow the light to grow within us gradually and naturally and so beautifully. In unity, we understand that spiritual growth is not accomplished by human effort alone. There's a partnership between our humanity and our divinity. Hope and faith form that partnership. Hope says, I see the light emerging. And faith says, I trust that light to guide me. Hope says, something good is coming. And faith says, I'm participating in its creation. Hope says, peace is possible. And faith affirms, I am peace. I bring peace. These two energies working together create the inner conditions for transformation. Every candle lit during Advent, every string of lights decorating homes, every star placed upon a tree, all symbolize the same truth. Light is our nature, and we do not create it, we awaken to it. So the question is not, is the light present within me? The question is, am I willing to let it be born here and to express it through me, to let that light flow as me outward? So how do we embody these spiritual powers in practical ways? Well, I have 6 suggestions in case you're making notes. The first one is through quiet time and reflection, dedicating time to the silence and meditation. That will always be number 1. Number 2 is by nurturing gentle expectations. Instead of demanding outcomes, we hold space for good to unfold in its own timing. The third is how we speak to ourselves, speaking to ourselves with kindness and understanding, just as we do in the fourth, through acts of kindness and compassion towards others. For when we express love to ourselves and others, we become channels for the light, and our actions become living prayers. The fifth is by releasing what no longer serves us, and we've been talking about that this month with releasing and forgiving. And the sixth is through spiritual community. When we gather together to meditate, to pray, to sing, or to share together, our combined light strengthens us all. Hope expands exponentially in community. Faith becomes contagious. It is impossible to look at the world today without seeing challenges: social, environmental, political, emotional. But spiritual work is not about ignoring reality. It's about seeing a higher reality emerging even through the difficulty. And this is one of the great messages of Christmas, that a single light, you, can transform darkness, not by force, but by presence. And when enough individual lights awaken and choose, hold that intention to shine, the world itself begins to glow. And so as we move towards Christmas, I invite you to ask yourself some questions. Where in my life do I need to cultivate new hope? Where am I being called to practice deeper faith? What inner light is waiting to be born within me? What old fear or limitation must I release to create space for that light? Christmas is not simply a celebration of something that happened long ago. It is an invitation to allow something new to happen in us now. The light we celebrate is our own divine essence, our compassion, our creativity, our wisdom, our ability to love without condition. And when we awaken to this light, we not only transform our own lives, but we become instruments of transformation in the lives of others. Hope and faith are the midwives of this birth. Let this be born anew within us today. And so it is. And so it is.